If you're not a particularly fast or agile animal, one of the best ways you can stop predators from hunting you is to be toxic. If a predator is gonna die right after chowing down on you, they're probably not gonna bother you twice. But it isn't always easy to tell if an animal is poisonous. Some are polite enough to warn you with bright, striking patterns, aposematic coloration. And it works so well that some species fake it even when they aren't toxic at all. Today, we're counting down 8 of the most toxic animals on the planet ranked by one number, how fast they can end you. And the animal at number 1 doesn't just kill you, it can stop your heart faster than some snake venoms, faster than cyanide, and it doesn't even make its own poison to do it. Number 8. Greenland shark. Heading into the ocean first for an animal most people would be happy to avoid, the Greenland shark is one of the most mysterious fish alive, and it's not exactly appetizing to look at either. Despite that, it's eaten in places like Iceland, but only after a long process. I covered this shark recently, so I'll keep this brief, because honestly, its toxicity is one of the least interesting things about it. It's the longest living vertebrate on Earth. Some sources claim up to 500 years, though that figure is worth flagging as an estimate rather than a confirmed fact. It's also slow enough to ambush prey while the prey sleeps. Being slow and lethargic also makes it easy to catch, but there's no safe way to eat it raw. Its meat carries high levels of urea and TMAO, which are toxic to humans in quantity. Untreated meat first mimics extreme intoxication, then, with enough consumed, can cause blindness and eventually death. To make it edible, it's fermented and hung for months, and even then, it's famously an acquired taste. The shark's own biology works against it here too. They can take up to 150 years to reach sexual maturity, so losing even a few adults to this trade has an outsized long-term impact. Elimination Clock, unknown. This is the one entry on the list with no reliable time frame. So few people eat it raw, and the ones who do know better, that there's no solid data on how fast it would kill you. If I'd left the Greenland shark off this list, I know the comments would have demanded it, so here it is at number 8. Number 7. Sea turtles. Staying in the ocean, but heading into warmer waters. Sea turtles are a peaceful, heavily threatened group. Beach development, fishing nets, and poaching have hit populations hard enough that most species are protected, with hundreds of active conservation projects working to bring them back. Not everywhere respects that though, and turtles are still eaten in parts of their range. In a strange twist, sea turtles sometimes get the last laugh. Species like the hawksbill can absorb toxins from what they eat, sponges, sea urchins, and pass that toxicity onto anyone who eats them. The resulting poisoning is called chelonitoxism, and it's more common than you think. Because turtle is often eaten communally as a delicacy, outbreaks tend to hit multiple people at once. One recent case in the Philippines killed 3 people and hospitalized 32 after a shared pot of turtle stew. Elimination Clock. As fast as 24 hours according to some sources, though, as with most of these, the exact timeline varies by dose and individual. And really, you shouldn't be eating sea turtles regardless. That puts them at number 7. Number 6. Polar bear liver. Back up north for an animal I doubt many of you pictured on a poisonous list. Then again, not many people are trying to eat polar bears, unless they're carrying a rifle. Meet one in the wild and it's far more likely to take a bite out of you. But if you were determined to eat one, there's exactly one part to avoid: the liver. Polar bear liver carries extreme concentrations of vitamin A. An estimated 500 grams is enough for a lethal dose in a human. That's hypervitaminosis A, normally treatable by adjusting diet, but at these concentrations it isn't. The bears build up this much vitamin A because their diet is almost entirely seal, and their bodies have adapted to tolerate it. Ours haven't. One liver reportedly carries enough to kill 52 adults, and traditional hunters historically knew this well enough to bury or burn the liver on the spot so nothing else would eat it. Elimination Clock. As fast as 12 hours for a whole liver by some estimates. That vitamin A overload earns the polar bear number 6. Number 5. Toxic reef crabs. Crabs are eaten worldwide, but not every crab belongs on a plate. Some have ended meals permanently. Beyond being a food source for humans, crabs are prey for plenty of ocean predators too, which is exactly why some evolved serious toxicity as a deterrent.
The most dangerous are in the Xanthidae family. Both their meat and shell can carry neurotoxins like tetrodotoxin and saxitoxin, toxins that survive cooking completely and have no antidote. Many of the more dangerous species are brightly colored, which is nature's warning label, but that doesn't stop everyone. The toxic reef crab specifically carries a grim statistic. Roughly 50% of intoxication cases are fatal. Even non-toxic crabs carry other risks, parasites, bacteria, as one unlucky man in China discovered when he ate a live crab whole out of revenge after it pinched his daughter. Bad idea regardless, catastrophic if the crab happened to be toxic. Elimination Clock, as fast as 3 hours. What makes this one scarier than most of the list isn't the toxin, it's the odds of an honest mistake, since ordinary crab is eaten constantly and the dangerous species aren't always obvious. That puts toxic reef crabs at number 5. Number 4. Rough-skinned newt. On to land. Amphibians lean on toxicity more than almost any other animal group, and newts are no exception. And like the crabs, many warn you first with color. North America's most toxic amphibian is the rough-skinned newt, barely 18 centimeters long, covered in a potent skin secretion, with a bright orange underbelly as the warning label and an unpleasant smell as backup. Enough to deter most predators, but not enough to deter drunk humans. There's a genuinely strange pattern of intoxicated men being dared to eat these newts, and, unsurprisingly, dying shortly after. In one unsettling case in Oregon, 3 hunters were found dead at their campsite with no sign of struggle. Investigators eventually found a dead rough-skinned newt in their coffee pot. That single newt was enough to kill all 3. A few predators, like garter snakes, have evolved resistance and can eat them safely. Humans have not. Elimination Clock, as fast as 2 hours in worst-case exposure. That earns the rough-skinned newt number 4. Number 3. Hooded pitohui. Birds don't usually come to mind when you think toxic, but a few qualify under the right conditions. Quail that have eaten certain plants, spur-winged geese that have eaten blister beetles. But the most toxic bird outright lives in New Guinea, the hooded pitohui. It carries the same family of batrachotoxin compounds found in South America's poison dart frogs, more on those shortly, and gets it the same way the goose and the quail do, through diet. Pitohuis raised in captivity without access to toxic beetles aren't dangerous at all. It's entirely diet dependent. Researchers have reported that simply handling one, touching its feathers, can cause numbness and a burning sensation. Reliable data on human deaths is scarce, simply because so few people eat this bird, but the toxin is potent enough that estimates put a fatal timeline of under an hour. Elimination Clock, as fast as under 1 hour. That takes the hooded pitohui to number 3. Number 2. Pufferfish. Back into the ocean. Pufferfish are weak swimmers, so they've had to get creative about not being eaten, famously inflating with water to look larger and harder to swallow, and if that fails, falling back on toxicity. Some species are among the most poisonous animals alive. A handful of sharks have evolved resistance to their tetrodotoxin. Humans have not. And yet, it's a delicacy in Japan and Korea, prepared only by chefs who've completed roughly 3 years of licensed training because amateur preparation has a real death toll. The liver, once prized as the most flavorful part, is also the most toxic, banned from Japanese restaurants since 1984. Even with that much regulation, deaths still happen most years. Tetrodotoxin blocks sodium channels, paralyzing the body while the victim stays fully conscious. Most deaths come from suffocation once breathing muscles fail. There's no antidote. A single pufferfish is estimated to carry enough toxin to kill 30 adults. One 2019 case in the Philippines killed 4 people and hospitalized 17. Elimination Clock, as fast as 10 minutes. That's the pufferfish at number 2. And here's the mystery from the top of the video resolved. The animal that can end a human life faster than anything else on this list doesn't make its own poison, isn't trying to bite or sting you, and looks like something out of a toy store.
Poison dart frogs might be the most beautiful, deadly animals alive. Vivid, varied colors that exist purely to warn predators off. Like the pitohui, they get their toxin through diet, mainly from ants and beetles, which means captive-bred individuals are essentially harmless and actually make rewarding pets. I don't recommend eating one either way. Potency varies by species, but the record holder is the golden poison frog, native to Colombia's rainforests, and tragically endangered due to habitat loss. It's widely considered not just the most toxic poison dart frog, but the most toxic land animal alive. Indigenous communities in its range have historically used its secretions to coat arrow tips, poison that reportedly stays lethal for years after application. A single frog can carry enough toxin to kill 20 people, or reportedly 2 adult African bull elephants. Elimination Clock as fast as 3 minutes, faster than the pufferfish, faster than the pitohui, faster than everything else on this countdown. And it's the golden poison frog that takes #1. So that's the mystery from the top of the video, the golden poison frog, the animal that can stop a human heart in about the time it takes to boil an egg. But maybe more interesting than the frog itself is how little correlation there is between how a toxic animal looks and how fast it can kill you. The pufferfish is a delicacy prepared under law by trained professionals, and it's still faster than a polar bear liver most hunters wouldn't think twice about avoiding. A newt smaller than your hand ended 3 men's lives through their coffee pot, and the frog at #1 isn't even making its own poison, it's borrowing it from the ants it eats. That's the thread running through this whole list. Toxicity has almost nothing to do with size, ferocity, or how dangerous something looks. The rough-skinned newt, the pufferfish, and the golden poison frog all prove that the smallest, calmest-looking animals on this list move the fastest on the elimination clock. So here's the question. Which entry surprised you more? The one that killed fastest, or the one you never expected to see on this list at all?